My name is Agostino, Chief Commodity Strategist with Farms.com Risk Management. We work with farmers across North America to help them do a better job of marketing. We work out of a satellite office in London, Ontario, and today we're talking at the 2021 6th Annual Great Ontario Yield Tour. We're talking markets and basis and hope to help farmers manage their bottom lines moving forward. They were calling Illinois, Indiana, Ohio kind of the perfect garden spots, and they were going to offset the Northwest. So I was trying to answer those questions, and I concluded that the final yield is going to be 167 and 48.5. I was spot on last year, hoping to do that again this year. If that's the case, then prices are going to go a lot higher. I think the finish is not as good as everybody thought it was going to be. So this area here was very dry, South Dakota, North Dakota, Minnesota. It's gotten worse. And then the eastern corn belt, it started wet, ended wet, stayed wet, and I'm not surprised now I'm hearing all the stories of disease. Tar spot in Illinois is spreading like wildfire. White mold in beans across the eastern corn belt, and southern rust in Ohio. I think the tours that have followed me have basically overestimated the crop. Again, we tend to give you the potential. So the Ontario corn crop at 191.5 is the potential. Can it hold it? We're worried about dry weather. We're worried about kernel size and depth. I don't know if you're going to get what we had last year, so I don't know if the kernel weight's going to be there. Pro Farmer's been doing this tour for 29 years. Same route, same 6 states, 177 and a 51.2. This is higher than the USDA at 50 and the 175 from the August crop report, or 174.6. Remember, that was a farmer survey. I was spot on. I was saying 175 and 50 for August. Why? Because the U.S. farmer was telling me, Mo, it's a good crop, but it's not a record crop. Look, Ken Ferry, he's a well-trusted, respected agronomist in the U.S., has told me, Mo, don't give corn and beans a bad day. How many bad days did we give them in the U.S.? I'm not necessarily talking about here. We had too dry, crazy heat, too cold, too wet. We gave more than one bad day. And I don't think that we can produce a 177 or a 51.2. So we'll find out here shortly. I have to wait for the combine because I think the combine is going to disappoint. Now, how many people know about the 89-year drought cycle? You better wrap your heads around this, because you've already left money on the table. How many guys sold $9 corn? One? How many guys sold $4 corn or $5 corn last September? I know you won't admit it to me. Okay? If you were patient, we just sold our corn at $8.80 because it's local elevator. The end user high was $9.60. We sold nothing. We were very bullish. We're the only ones that caught it. Sold the wheat at the highs as well. I'm very disappointed with beans. I thought they'd do a lot better. Still high compared to last fall. But be more patient. Why? Because this thing started 2 years ago. It takes about 6 years to unfold. It got worse this year, and it's going to get worse next year. It's going to peak sometime in 24-25, 70% chance. At the East event, I had Dr. Elwin Taylor do a video. You guys will have access to that. I want you to watch it. He's a climatologist, so please don't fall asleep. It's dry, but you're going to learn something. He provides the graphs that tell you why this thing's going to happen. It's Mother Nature. You and I can't stop it. He thinks this thing's gotten worse because of climate change and gas emissions. So remember the triple-digit threats? It's going to continue to happen. And those triple-digit threats are what's going to destroy production in North America. So over the next 4 years, it's going to get dry. Those guys in Western Canada, did you hear what happened in Western Canada? It was very dry. Right around mid-June, they get a heat dome. Do you think any weather guy caught it? Nope. Did the farmer catch it? Nope. I warned them, it's coming. I just couldn't tell them when. They got one early, 122 degrees. Just 2 weeks ago, Mother Nature was giving the Volga Russian wheat region 137 degrees. Why do you think Russia's down 10 million metric tons from the beginning? It's bullish wheat going into the spring of 22, okay? I'm warning you guys right now. You don't think, and Ontario is one of the best places to grow crops because we don't really get adverse weather. Although it's coming. Dundas County just got some hail. damaged 5,000 acres. Those mini derachos that the US is getting, they got a big one last year. And down in Chatham, they got 13 inches of moisture in a week, and it did some damage. I was talking to one of my bank experts down in Iowa, just north of Strawberry, just south of Waukon, it's northeast Iowa. You guys don't know where it is. 17 inches in one day. Amazing. I mean, you don't produce record crops with that type of stuff. And again, they're getting wind damage, 100 mile per hour. Wisconsin got it again. And baseball-sized hail. Imagine baseball. If you've got corn that's maturing and it's hanging and you get that type of hail, it's just going to knock it out. It's done. It's out for the count, right? So anyway. So be careful, because what happened to Western Canada can happen to you. Here's why. I want you to be more patient. Don't pull the trigger too often. You guys are happy. And I know in a normal year, yes, I want you to do that. Do less of it. Why? Because you're going to be in the same shoes the Western Canadian producer is, where you pulled too hard. Now guess what? They don't have bushels to meet the contract. And guess what their option is? Buy me out. 180,000 to 500,000. You can hire the lawyers all you want. They're not going to be able to help you. You got to pay it. Do you want to be in those shoes? I don't. So be careful. Don't worry that corn's going back to 4, that beans are going back to 8, because they're not. These prices will remain elevated for some time. I think Mother Nature at some point is going to allow you to overproduce sometime in 2026. That's when this thing comes to an end. I think that's when prices finally start to come back down. This is the drought from the Midwest this year. You can see how dry it is up in the northwest versus 12. We're going to get back to a 12 in the next 2 to 4 years. I just can't tell you when. This is La Nina. It's back. It's strong. It's going to affect South America. I'm not selling a darn bean to figure out what La Nina does to South America. They're expected to grow a big crop, 144 million versus 134 this year. But there's no guarantees. And then if it gets delayed, then you delay the corn crop again. We lost a lot of bushels from Brazil. It could affect Argentina, and it's going to affect North America as well. This is 180 days of U.S. Midwest precipitation departure from normal. The yellow-brown means less precip. And yet we're going to produce a 177 crop? How do you produce a 177 crop with less moisture? This is August of 2016. They had a record crop 176.5. We're trying to break that this year. Record moisture in August. This is this year. We're not getting record moisture in August. I don't think we're going to produce a 177. China, I wish Trump was still in office, because Biden doesn't care. Biden doesn't care about the farmer. He's not helping. He doesn't care about China, phase 1. So unfortunately, the market's been very concerned about exports, both in corn and beans. China bought early, but then they disappeared. They finally bought some beans, and they bought about 15 million metric tons, and they'll probably have to buy about 22 total, so another 7. You know, as long as they buy 1 million a week, we're good. But the market's still concerned about it, and I'm hoping that this will still be part of the plan going forward. Fertilizer, how many guys have booked for 22 fertilizer? Good for you. The rest of you, what are you waiting for? Just call your local supplier. Not everybody's going to do it. Some are going to say, I don't have a price, I don't have supply. Call as many as you can and just push that thumb down and say, I want it. I'll pay for it now. I'll take delivery. That's the only way you're going to do it. I'm warning you right now. These prices here are US. I don't get access to Ontario because it's a secret. They won't share it with me. If I publicly share it, I get destroyed. So prices are up on average 33 to 45% since last October. They're now talking 2008 spring highs. Here's the problem. I talk to a farmer and I say, did you book 22 corn yet? Yep, 510 futures plus basis. I think I'm making money. Do you know your cost of production? Yeah, I think so. Did you book your fertilizer? No. Then you don't have any clue whether you're making money. My point is this: if this price goes to 08 highs next spring, it's going to squeeze every profit margin you have in corn. Make sure you do this early. Don't be in the shoulda, coulda, woulda scenario. I know you guys are all looking for a break. You're not going to get it. Are you going to get a break?
Just to let you guys know right now on the Alpine side, if you're buying Alpine, do it right now. I'm not saying it just because I'm the sales rep. Do it right now. Just can I get just one minute here more?
Yeah. Can you get an early booking discount?
Right now, if you buy now, take now, and pay now, it's going to be your best price. Just going back, think about 2008. We were at $1,200 for MAP and potash. Alpine at that time was $250 a liter. We're at about $1,000 right now for MAP, a little bit less for potash. We're at about between about $1.50 and $1.70, depending on what product that you're looking at for the Alpine. That's a huge spread from the $250 compared to where the dry was. The manufacturers see this. They are going to want to put those prices closer together, and I guarantee you, it won't be the dry that's going to be coming down.
There's no excuse for these prices to go down.
Our
Demand's going to remain strong.
A couple cents less than what we were in the spring.
Yep.
There's no one else that's going to be less than what we were at in the springtime.
There you go. So talk to Alpine. Funds, they've been missing in action. I think they're just on vacation, to be honest with you. I mean, they're just not there, but I'm hoping as we all go back to school and we get into September that fund volume comes back. So the market's dropping, but it's on low volume, so I'm not too concerned about that. And then we got that Stats Canada report that just came out. They actually estimated the Ontario corn crop at 169.5. It's satellite imagery plus farmer survey. They think this satellite imagery is very accurate. They're out to lunch because we just did a tour. We're at 191 and they're at 169. Come on, give me a break. There's a huge gap. So they're underestimating the bean crops at 48.3. We're at 51.7. But they came in a little lower than the total wheat for Western Canada and the USDA at 22.9. I think USDA was at 24. And then canola came in slightly higher. But my point is this was nothing to do with the combine. We had harvested about 30% of the crops in Western Canada. There's another report on December 3rd. Wait for that one. Every farmer that I talk to, and I have lots of clients out there, they tell me, Mo, cut it in half. We're not at half yet. So the market has not factored that in. I would be patient. I think we see higher prices by year end. There's a lot of moving parts, and I can't talk about all those moving parts, but focus on corn ending stocks. This is the red line, is this year versus 2012. It's tighter, it's lower. Over time, tight, lower ending stocks drive prices nuts because we got a ration demand. So we got a September crop report next Friday. Everybody, the chatter right now is that acres are going up because the FSA has completed that data. Usually the USDA doesn't adjust that till October. The trade is wrong again. They got acres wrong in March, they got it wrong in June, and they're going to get it wrong again. In fact, a Farm Future survey came out and said for 2022 we're going to increase corn acres by 1.7 to 94. We're currently 92.7, and we're going to go from about an 86 on beans to about 90, up 3.7. That the total is 185 again. Don't you get it that the total acres are not there? Farm.com Daily did a study. They said 14 million acres are gone since 2014 or 4 or something like that due to urbanization, haying wheat in the Southern Plains. They're never coming back. It's actually going to get worse. The only way that you're going to be able to fix these tight balance sheets is to overproduce, but Mother Nature has a different plan. Remember the 89-year drought cycle. So as long as this goes lower, once we get past the 12th, so we could have some fireworks next Friday, because maybe acres actually come down instead of go up, surprise the trade again. And who knows what the USDA says on yield, because this is their first yield objective data. That's where they go into the field and they weigh the corn and look at it and all that fun stuff. So we'll see what happens, but the September 30th crop report, it's the grain stocks report. Wait for that one. Why? Well, you know it was dry last year. You know we had a duration. Do you think USDA overestimated? That is that report that moves markets. Why? Because it either shows that we added 300 million or we subtracted. We're going to probably subtract. So if the corn ending stocks are at 1245, let's assume we stay there through September next Friday, and then we subtract 300. Now we're below $1 billion. What do you think futures are going to do? They're going to go higher. So be patient. Don't be rushed into selling this thing. Same thing on beans. We're tight compared to 12. My only disappointment is the USDA showed their hand. They don't want to lower ending stocks on beans below 120 million. And so the market has to figure out whether we have to ration demand at 13, 14, 15, 16, or 20. And it's frustrating because I want the USDA to tell the farmers that look, we're really tight, we're below zero, so buy some acres. Send the price higher to buy some acres, but they're not doing that. They wait a year after the fact. It doesn't help. Anyways, so if you don't have 185, so we got 5 million less, and it's the same as this year, we're not adding acres to fix this. Unless one or the other, beans or corn, have to explode to buy those acres. Right now, beans are buying acres. This is December corn. The floor is 5, the ceiling's 6. So this is soybeans, kind of a 13, 14 trading range. I don't think the beans are going to fall too far from here. Same, and then the wheats, it's in that upward sloping uptrend that I draw, where it's trading to the low end of it, but I think it'll stop and then eventually trade to new highs at some point this fall. And then, so if we have a big crop coming, how many guys have to sell corn between now and Christmas? If you don't have, how many guys don't have storage? Then you got to do something, right? So what was your mistake last year? You sold flat corn, you didn't replace with bushels, and you missed out. Don't do the same mistake. If you think there's $9 corn coming again next summer, for you to participate, just do a basis contract. Now you can either do it on December, or you can do it on July, or you can stagger it, but do a basis, because I think the trade at 191.5 is going to say, I don't have to offer the farmer 120 over on December corn, local elevator. I can get away with 80 cents. I don't know. I think it's going to get soft, especially through harvest. Old crop basis is too high and freight's too high, so the demand is stalled. But the overriding factor that's outweighed any other factor has been demand. If you think that demand's going to stay strong, a lot of the corn from Ontario goes to Europe. If you think the US is a smaller crop, then they're going to have to import from Ontario, and that demand and that basis will come back. The spread is $1.20 versus $3. If you want to participate in that, you're going to have to give it time. Thanks for coming out.